So I read books to make my mind a little stronger, meditate and try to pray a little longer. But love without action is just a dream state. I'm so tired of sleep talking, pushing aside nightmares we don't want to see. Good morning, America, it's time to wake up. Alarm clocks have rung, the world needs our love. Good morning, America. Another news flash, there's a heart that needs healing, but still we pay no mind to human feelings. Children are starving, policy alarming, pour that in your coffee cup. I'm so tired of sleep talking, pushing aside nightmares.
Go.
Good morning, Science of Mind.
Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. Happy you're here. You are in a happening place. So stay and enjoy.
Good morning and welcome to our Las Vegas Center of Spiritual Living.
Okay, you want to give us your name?
My name is Charlie. I'm a teen at this center and yep, it's cool. I love it.
Good morning. Welcome to the center. This is a place where love is everywhere. So come join us. We'd love to see you.
Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, where everybody's welcome.
Settle into your seat. Taking in a loving breath. Knowing that God is breathing each and every one of us. God is love. I ask each of you to feel that peace, the tranquility, the love into your heart. Because each one of you are an aspect of God. You are love. Each of you and each of us are the light. As each of us settle into this love, feeling the power of love coursing through our mind and our body, knowing that each of us are in the right and perfect spot right now. The energy of love is coursing through our bodies, our minds, every part, our awareness, our consciousness. Feel the beat of your heart. Knowing that on a conscious level we cannot breathe on our own. It is God breathing each of us. Feeling and love, the light that God is. Breathing in that love, that light. Feeling it going around your body, inside of your body. Each of us are this wondrous aspect of God. As each of us bloom into even more of what we are here to do. To love one another, to love other people, other beings, the animals. Knowing that each and every one of us are in the right and perfect place right here, right now. Feel the energy from the person sitting next to you, the glow, the glory of that energy, that love, that light. Everyone here this morning are here by divine appointment. To love each other, to listen to each other. Most importantly is just to listen and listen some more. That is our God-given right. Calm before the breeze, the wind, the flowers, the trees that bloom in the fall. That is all God's work. God's love, God's light. And each and every one here are a part and a particle of God's glory, God's love, and God's light. Feel the loving energy that is in this sanctuary, knowing that each and every one of us, each and every one of you, go forth and spread that light and that love. It'll be just a smile, a wave. Each one of us are sharing that glory of God. Feeling the love that is in this sanctuary that bounces off the walls. The glow, that love that touches each and every one of us. Knowing that there is love and light in this sanctuary, in this teaching, as each of us go forth into a brand new day. And please join me in saying, and so it is. So beautiful. And sorry. Good morning. Dave just wants to get us going. Call order. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is
if you'll just sit back and make yourself comfortable, close your eyes, and allow my words to become your words as I speak in the first person. And I recognize right here and right now with a grateful heart that there is just one power, one presence that is all powerful, all knowing. It's in every atom of my being. It breathes me. And as I know this is true for me, I know it's true for each one of you right here and right now. And as this beautiful, glorious morning unfolds, I show up as love and joy, peace and compassion. And so that's what I live for. I allow love to rule my life. And I am so very grateful for this beautiful, loving center that taught me these beautiful principles. I'm grateful for the sound booth. I'm grateful for Julius. I'm grateful for all this beautiful music we get to hear from Abby and her dad. I'm grateful for my ministers. I'm grateful for all the volunteers. And I'm grateful for each one of you that showed up to celebrate with us today. I am so very grateful for Bobby. This talk today is going to be absolutely fantastic. You're in for a treat. And so now I release my word into the absolute perfect law, knowing it's already done. And together we say, and so it is.
Here's Dave's favorite. We really wanted to play this one, so let's sing it. Use me, oh God, I stand for you. And here abide as you show me all that I must do. All right. I used to think that God was the sun, God is the sun, but God is so much more than the earth or the stars or all of creation. God is creator, all in all, leading us to shine His light right there as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here abide as you show me all that I must do. Command these hands, command my hands. What must they do? Command my life. It's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator. Come on, makes all things new. God needs us, to shine His light as me, yes, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here abide as you show me all that I must do. Come on, show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Now it's comfortable for you, if you would please stand and say with me, God bless America and the rest of the world. And if you would just turn to a neighbor and say good morning and thank her being here.
especially this week. I just want to let you guys know that I have loved this girl since she was, I don't know, about 6 or 7 years ago I've loved her. So she is only 19 years old right now. And this is Abigail Rose and her dad, Steve Comps. And I can tell you right now, I want to get down, I want to let them go, but I can just tell you right now, you will be moved to tears, so please get your cameras out. No, I'm telling you, this is get your tissues ready, your cameras out. You can cut my mic in 1 second, I understand. And you are incredible, that's all I can say. This is all original music. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, I was pretty fired up after hearing Marianne Williamson speak last week. I don't know about you guys. So I wrote this song. It's called Good Morning America, and I hope you like it. We have Dave Marinelli on keys, Steve Comps, my father on bass. I used to think if we knew better, somehow we would do better, but still there's too much hate working in the world today. So I read books to make my mind a little stronger, meditate and try to pray a little longer, but love without action is just a dream state. I'm so tired of sleep talking, pushing aside nightmares we don't want to see. Good morning, America, it's time to wake up. Alarm clocks have rung, the world needs our love. Good morning, America. Another news flash, there's a heart that needs healing, but still we pay no mind to human feelings. Children are starving, policy alarming, pour that in your coffee cup. I'm so tired of sleep talking, pushing aside nightmares we don't wanna see. Good morning, America, it's time to wake up. Alarm clocks have rung, the world needs our love. Good morning, America. Good morning, America, it's time to wake up. Alarm clocks have rung, the world needs our love. Good morning, America. Close your eyes, picture our world like paradise. Heaven on earth, it's our divine journey to see this through. Close your eyes, picture our world like paradise. Heaven on earth, it's our divine power to see this through. Good morning, America, it's time to wake up. Alarm clocks have rung, the world needs our love. Good morning, America. Good morning, America, it's time to wake up. Alarm clocks have rung, the world needs our love. Good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Such a talent. Such a talent. Thank you so much, Abby and Steve and Dave.
Abigail, I'm sorry. Abigail, thank you. So we have a special guest this morning. And normally I don't introduce family, you know that, once you've spoken here, you're family, so I don't normally introduce you. But I feel compelled to, there's so many of you that maybe don't know this lovely, lovely man that teaches truth, that teaches love, and he teaches it by being. And he's always brought that to me in my life and to this center. And so whatever he has to say, it's from a place of wisdom, it's from a place of authenticity, and certainly a place of love. So please welcome practitioner Bobby Williams.
That's all right, they won't bother me. Sometimes I write notes, but I can't get anybody to read them, including me, so don't bother. They say someplace that you're never supposed to get up and give good advice until you're too old to set a bad example. Well, I'm almost there. Not over the hill, but I'm sure can't see over it right now. I was so delighted and thrilled and honored, obviously, as any of you would be, to share some ideas with fellow practitioners. And I know that Stacy and Cheryl and all of your leadership will agree that everybody in this room is a practitioner. Some of us are licensed. I went to class with Cheryl and Stacy, you know, the other ones in here, and I was a part of the class that made their part possible. They handed out grades on the curve. so I went over to the first church and took them again. But I think I finally got it, and to whatever degree that on this human experience we can get it. And what I got was this, and I think if you don't agree with me, you will, sooner or later. You are a production of spirit that is so absolutely phenomenal and magnificent that it couldn't possibly be measured. It certainly could never be spoke about or contributed. Your contribution to life is always, isn't this interesting? Original. Always original. It's always your complete self, and whatever you have internalized as a belief system through experience or observation or learning is who you are. And regardless, and I found out in my life, and I found this out kind of the hard way because you're not going to believe this, but I wasn't always this nice a guy. Somebody yelled at you, you don't have to remember. The fact is that when I was a young kid here in Las Vegas, my mom was a cocktail waitress, and my brother and I kind of ran the streets, and we were what they call, of course, the kind of kids that you wouldn't want your kids hanging out with. And the police department was very small in those days, and they only had one jailhouse, and they only had one room in it at that time. And I can tell you all about that room. It's interesting, isn't it? But you'd be amazed at how good a good bed can feel after a few nights on a cot, a slab, I should say. But I remember the last drink that I ever had. Isn't this interesting? The last drink that I ever had was, it seemed like it wasn't, I know it wasn't every Saturday night, but it could have been every Saturday night. I managed to get myself totally clinked for what they called in those days, they probably still do, called drunk and disorderly. And so I went up before the judge on a Monday morning, and he said, Bobby, if I see you here again, you're going to get 30 days. And we'll just see what that happens. Well, I'd already been in there maybe 5 times that year. And sure enough, about 2 weeks later, there I was on Sunday night in this cell. When I went into the judge's office, the courtroom on Monday morning, he pretended, he had the papers right in front of him, obviously, he pretended like he didn't know me. And he sentenced me to 1 day, which is what they always do. They give you 1 day on Sunday and then you're out on Monday morning. And when I walked out of that place, I said to myself, that's the end of that. And I know that every person and every individual, at some point in their time, whatever their difficulty they need to overcome was, that was the end of my drinking career. There comes a time when it's just somebody you're lucky enough or fortunate enough to run into a situation where it just simply doesn't work anymore. And at that time, you begin to express yourself as whoever you happen to really be. And I really honestly wasn't that bad of a guy. We were just delinquents and having trouble and this, that, and the other. But I got lucky, and I think it might have happened to you too. I got lucky. About 35 years ago, I've always admired good speakers. And so a friend of mine in Toastmasters invited me to the Church of Religious Science. And he said to me, Bobby, he said, if you come and attend the Center for Spiritual Living where I happen to attend, you'll either walk out halfway through the service knowing your personality, or you'll be there from now on. Thankfully, I got it. Yeah, I got it. This philosophy and there's nothing original in it. I don't have to tell you this because you already know. There's nothing original about religious science. There's nothing original at all about it. When Jesus taught that you are what you think about, he was just simply quoting someone before his time. Maybe it was Buddha, and maybe it was 1,000 other names for spiritual leaders over the years. But every individualized expression of God itself actually becomes exactly what they think about. And it isn't that simple, because I disagree with Ernest Holmes or whoever said it's not exactly what you think about, it's what you internalize about what you think about.
Right.
It's the emotion that comes behind it, doesn't it? The emotion triggers action, and activity creates results, and we live in a world of cause and effect. So each and every one of us creates exactly what we're thinking about. Well, I happen to have been an individual, I know nobody in here is that way, but I had a very small consciousness. But I had a very big rebelliousness. You know, I hated working for a living. It's like they tell you what time to show up. You know, that's bad for a guy that, you know, I always used to sleep up until the sun went through the room. You've heard that one before. But fortunately, I faced the west, and it came up in the east, so I didn't get up that early. But as I progressed through life, I found out or figured out or discovered that not only does every individual have a uniqueness about themselves, we are energized by spirit. So I had a tremendous amount of energy, but very little direction. And so what I found out and figured out and discovered is that whenever I take a step in any given direction, whenever I take a step in any given direction, Spirit gives me answers for the next step. So in my particular case, what happened is, since I didn't like working for anybody, I put a little ad in the Review Journal, $25 unplug. You can just about figure what I was unplugging. And first thing you know, I got a call, and then another call, and then another call, and then I found out something even more interesting. When people put an ad in the Yellow Pages in Las Vegas in those days, and they said 24-hour service, they didn't mean it. And so when somebody would call them up, I put a little ad in the Review Journal that said 24-hour service, and I meant it. And the first thing you know, I kept getting these calls, And my wife said to me, Bobby, aren't you afraid you're going to wear out? And I said, not till I get tired of counting money. It worked pretty good. So the company grew and it grew and it grew. And first thing you know, about maybe 5 or 6 years went by. And the reason I'm telling the story is now. 5 or 6 years went by, and the company had about 12 employees. And that was the size of my consciousness. That was the size of my consciousness. Now, to give you just an idea, I'll tell another quick story. I helped races out at the Speedway, motorcycle races, and Steve Wynn and Larry Lugo used to race out there at my track. And one day, Steve Wynn called me in to come and visit him out at his hotel, and he said he wanted to give me 10 Suzuki motorcycles for me to give away and promote races. And my consciousness was so small that I said, Steve, that wouldn't do any good because not that many people would come from California to hold the races, to go to the races. I never heard from him again, including today. I had never heard from him again. What he meant was he'd give me 10 motorcycles, and these people would come from California to race to get the free motorcycles, and they'd stay at his hotel and pay for 20 motorcycles. But because of my consciousness, I didn't get it. And the same thing stopped with my business. When I got up to about 8 employees, I was as big as I could get. And so what happened is my son had been serving his apprenticeship in the plumbing business at a union shop, was my brother's shop, and they had over 150 employees. And they built the hotels like the Riviera and the Golden Nugget and things like that. So it was a very big business. When my son came into my business and I got the heck out of the way, it grew to 120 employees and several $1 million a year in sales. And the reason I tell you that story is if you can't think as big as it needs to be, get the hell out of the way. Unless somebody who can think that big. Because everybody doesn't want to be in business. Everybody doesn't necessarily want to be the boss. Everybody doesn't want to actually carry the thing, but many of them have a consciousness that is so much larger than yours might be at any given time. So whatever's going on in your life, give it a break. Give everybody a break. The people that ended up, when we finally shut down in 2008, you guys probably remember the recession. It happened that I was 62 years old and getting lazy at that time. Actually, I was 40 years old and got lazy, but it took me until 62 to do anything about it. But I had a big pile of receivables, if you can imagine that, and so that seemed like a damn good time to retire to me. So I took off and just traveled the world for 10 or 12 years and spent all the money. So since I ran out of money, I decided to get with Judy because she has money. Works out a lot better, doesn't it? I told you, get around with someone with a higher consciousness. So I found her. It works. But it's an exciting thing now. The reason for this talk this morning is I wanted to share the idea that everything works. Everything. There's no substitute for it. And I negatively imply that and say also that includes the negative thoughts. You can wake up in the morning and say, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be tough. It's going to be I hate to use the word hate. I must not hate it very much, I wouldn't be hating it right now. But I hate to use, I really just like the idea of looking for problems. You know, when we get up in the morning, we can walk out. I think I should repeat right now that I had absolutely no plumbing experience. Zilch of it. I was at my brother's house. He had a large plumbing company, and I had been a truck driver most of my life. And then, of course, I helped motorcycle races for about 10 years. And I found out they could sue you when somebody went down at your track for all the money you owned. I couldn't hold motorcycle races. But when I went into the plumbing business, my brother said, Bobby, anybody can unplug a sink. Anybody can unplug something. So I put a little ad in the paper, $25 unplug. And the law of attraction just kept attracting and attracting and attracting. And I stole all of my employees from people that didn't treat them right. You've been there, haven't you? Isn't that wonderful? I thought, this is totally awesome. I stole one guy from a plumber that was abusive to him, and he brought 12 of his buddies with him. We built, I think at that time it was 26 schools, and all the Walmarts and the Sam's Clubs. And you'd think they'd give me a discount. I went into a Target one time, and the manager said, oh, Bobby, I know you. I think of you every time I flush. It's nice to have a reputation, but I'm not sure that's the one I was searching for. I hope that as you travel through your experiences, as you travel through your life, there's three things that I'd like to pass on and hope that this old truth can make something you'll remember. Respect yourself. You're one of the most magnificent creations that Spirit has ever conceived and believed and achieved. Bless and respect and give credit to every individualized expression of God, whether it's an employee or a friend or a spiritual partner or a minister or whoever it is. You're always dealing with God Himself. You're never dealing with a stranger. You're always looking into the eyes of God. And thirdly, respect life and the whole planet. Everything, and you'll know this as soon as I say it, everything is expanding. Now, not only is the universe expanding, as the scientists will adhere to, every individualized expression, every society, every business, every connection of everything, including plant growth, human growth, and life, is always expanding and growing. Jump on the bus, kids, because this is where it's going. And the challenge of non-expansion is a sentence that I'm going to remind you of, and you'll know it. It's called boredom. Whatever is not growing is becoming boring. And the more boring it gets, the more miserable it gets. And then we start this you should have and shouldn't on people. And all. Is that the right word? Not the one I had in mind, but it was the one I used. I am so delighted and so excited to be a part of an organization that knows and knows that it knows that life is a continual expansion, always riding on the wings of love, and forever and ever expanding and growing. I'm so grateful for you guys. I'm so grateful for Cheryl and Stacy and what's that other guy's name? That's what he gets for not being here. He's lucky I didn't send the flu after him. But I know he had a wonderful time and he's doing good. He's done such a wonderful thing with this congregation in this place and in my life. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to spill it out.
Wow. Practitioner Bobby Williams. You know what? I knew when I saw you this morning, I was looking into the eyes of God. It's so great to see you again. Thank you for everything. Please welcome up again this incredible talent, the product of Rochelle and Steve Comps. Abigail Rose.
For me, it's usually the small fears that get in the way of my expansion and growth. So that's what this song is about. It's called Dear Future Me. window back in 9th grade. All we wanted were A's. In the moment, even the small fears seem important. But from where you're standing now, I know you can see. So tell me that heartbreak heals. The world is kind. Tell me that love is real, and the polar bears are still alive. Fear in the rear view gets smaller as you drive, so don't waste a minute worrying your mind. You are gonna be fine. Tell me, do those voices stop telling me I'm not enough? Will they ever say I'm beautiful always? Do we find that special one to show us how we deserve to be loved? 'Cause right now it's just me. I don't have cats, but I'm lonely. In the moment, even the small fears seem important. But from where you're standing now, I know you can see. So tell me that heartbreak heals. The world is kind. Tell me that love is real, and the polar bears are still alive. Fear in the rear view gets smaller as you drive, so don't waste a minute worrying your mind. You are gonna be fine. You are gonna be fine. Yeah, you're gonna be fine. 'Cause heartbreak heals, and the world is kind. Love is real, and we're gonna keep those polar bears alive. Fear in the rear view gets smaller as you drive, so don't waste a minute worrying your mind. We are gonna be fine. We are gonna be fine. In the name of love, 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 in the name of love. Hi, honey. In the name of love. This song's for you. In the name of love. In the name of love. Handsome guys. In the name of love. In the name of love. Yes. In the name of
Okay. So today we have 3 people and 2 are very shy. And in our conversation was about gratitude. And we read 2 books and we started pictures, but I guess we drew too slow. So this is Hunter, and he's going to talk about what he's grateful for.
I'm grateful for my cats.
You're not on the stage. What are you grateful for?
Joy.
Joy. Oh, that's a good one. Hi. You're having so much fun.
We were just talking about just now. Yep. Do you want to do it? You just said what we spoke about. What we were just talking about.
Today
This is McKenna.
Hi
Today we learned about what it means to have kindness, and we also talked about one of the books that O. Henry wrote, The Gift of the Magi. It's basically where there's this very, very poor couple, and it was either their anniversary or Christmas coming up. Each of them thought if they gave their most prized possession just to give the other person something that they thought would be very meaningful, then maybe it would be very nice too. But then what they didn't know is that the woman gave away all of her beautiful hair to get the man a chain for his watch, while the man, he gave away his watch to give the girl a comb.
Oh my gosh. Lauren's crying.
And then we also saw a Sesame Street clip with Bert and Ernie doing the same thing from the book. Gratitude. Learning about gratitude.
So good to see you all. Oh, aren't they wonderful? I'm sorry. Can I ask the, Minister Stacy to come forward? Any visiting ministers or practitioners, but please come forward and join us here. Including Bobby and Judy, and it's so cool. Where is everybody? And our ministry prayer team, come on down. This is our support team here, just so you know. If you would love to pray with them after service, they're here for you. Thank you. And Bobby is going to give us a benediction. If you would all stand and connect, that'd be awesome. It's on. You have it on. Turn him on. Turn Bobby on.
You got me? Oh. Close our eyes and look at our deep breath. It always feels good. Here's what I know, and I know for sure. There's only one life. This life is our life right now. This life is ever expanding and growing and loving and expressing. Always, always, and forever saying yes, yes, yes. I dip into my own personal soul, and right now I promise myself and the world that I'll be the best I can be. Always, always, in knowing and understanding that it rides on the wings of love. I'm so grateful and grateful for each and every individualized expression of life on the planet, in this state, in this center, and in this group right now. And so it is.
And so it is.
So it is.
Sing our new song.